One. Okay. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mark, the Ultimate Gaming Warrior, and I am also very tired too. But we are here as nerds again to discuss one of the recent movies coming out, or that just had come out with the Ultimate Edition, which is pretty much, in my opinion, the only way to watch the movie now. Batman v Superman. And with me is my good friend Tyler, and somebody new. Introduce yourself.
Hello.
Bob. This is Bob McBobson.
I'm going to be the unanimous person.
Unanimous? I think you mean anonymous.
Anonymous person.
It's an easy mistake.
He's going to agree with everybody?
Yeah. That's that.
Yeah, so his friend, his brother Tim is now joining us.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim. How are you all doing?
I'm Dapper Turtle.
They can't hear you.
Let us begin.
The internet can't hear you.
What, you can't hear me?
No,
sorry.
The internet can't hear you. There we go.
Now can you hear him?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim.
Stop impersonating Markiplier. We already have Markiplier.
Yeah, he's like, I'm trying to be myself. Yeah, and we're here to talk about Batman v Superman.
I'm just trying to speak really fast.
I'm sorry?
The movie's finally been released, and now we've all pretty much seen it to death, I think, at this point.
I believe so.
We're ready to talk for about 30 minutes about it. Not very long. I'm not going to keep this as long as Civil War. That was a way bigger movie.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of stuff. We had more time, so yeah, we kind of went crazy.
Yeah, there was also, I think there was just a lot more side characters and stuff to talk about. This movie only has Batman and Superman, so you don't have much to.
Congrats.
Let's see. So.
You're on like crazy.
What can you hear me?
Yeah, but the audio quality really dropped.
I think it's on your end. Saying again. Technical difficulties.
Is it?
Is your...
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. It's kind of choppy, but I think 1 minute. Like, how well is your connection over there, actually? Just asking.
All right, I'm going to turn off video.
Yeah,
see if that helps anything.
We should turn off the video. The video would...
Yeah, let's both turn off video to save quality. All right, that's much better. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, we don't need to see each other anyway. I don't want to see your face.
Yeah.
Your face is gross.
Okay, that's much better.
Your face. All right, that's good.
So, let's talk about your experiences. How did you guys see the movie first? Like,
that was like the last movie okay. So we saw it unlike Civil War, it was not in a drive-thru. We just saw it in a normal theater. It was pretty good. It left a lot of questions because it wasn't the theatrical cut. So yeah. Yeah,
the theatrical cut, it cut out a lot, especially the Clark Kent scenes. I really enjoyed the Clark Kent scenes in the Ultimate Edition. Mm-hmm. It really added to the whole battle with Batman and Superman. It really made you feel like they were really fighting because of their morals, not just because someone's mommy was in trouble.
Very much, yeah.
I mean, that's a good reason to want to fight someone, but it's Superman. So, I mean...
It shouldn't just be because of, like, a threatened family member or a threatened person.
Which is probably, I think that's probably the stupidest device in the movie to get him to fight. That's probably the dumbest thing out of the entire movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
I took your mom. Okay, so I can just kill you and go get her.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is that for me, I'm much more of a DC nerd than most people, so I actually really enjoyed Batman v Superman, even just in the theatrical edition. It definitely had left me off with a lot of plot holes, but the Ultimate Edition, I felt like, although it added a lot to the story, the thing that it suffers from is the fact that it is such a long movie. It may lose people's interest very, very quickly, especially for just random moviegoers. So I think that's something.
I think especially if you've already seen the movie and you didn't enjoy it, it's like, yay, so we get a longer movie with the same stuff again, but a couple other scenes.
Not that. It answers all the questions and all the problems that I had with the movie.
Okay, well, let's start with that then, because I didn't actually see the Ultimate. I saw the normal one twice, but I haven't seen the Ultimate yet. So what did they actually add, just getting out of the way, to the Ultimate Edition?
just some extra character developing plot points and scenes and stuff that really add to the motivation of the characters, so that it doesn't seem they're just like, duh, fight.
Then why did they take those out of the actual release? Take out crap no one cared about, like Lex Luthor stuff.
I think the reason that they took that out is because the studio, like I said before, the studio really wanted to have a movie that was engaging for all audiences, but this movie, the Ultimate Edition, the thing that I think it really made the most sense to me was the Africa scene. Because when you see it in the theaters, like, everyone blames Superman, but all he did was just throw a guy through a wall.
So this random black lady comes up and she blames him, and you don't see anything at all. Like, he doesn't do anything.
They cover that. They cover that in the movie.
Yeah, and then I think you actually find out that she was lying on purpose.
Yeah,
that would have been nice to know in the actual release, thank you, because, like, we didn't see him do anything.
She was lying.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that they didn't show in the movies that they should have at least left this one scene in is when Superman actually blows up the drone. So the government gets all hissy fit with him, so they blame him for their mistake of letting Lex Luthor's agents just murder all these people. I think that was a very important scene that really added to that tension that Superman felt.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the problems just in the normal release. All the stuff with Lex Luthor is like everything is like, even like I think in the Ultimate Cut I've heard, like, and I've seen. Don't worry, I actually have, like, I saw the Angry Joe review on it, the Ultimate Edition.
Oh, yeah.
Half the scenes they add in are stuff explaining how Lex Luthor ended up planning this stuff. I'm like, so then why did you put that in the original so we actually know that he's doing all this? It just kind of seems like everybody's just blaming Superman for being a god or whatever.
Just because censorship.
Just because. Yeah, I'm like,
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, and I think the other reason, too, is that Warner Brothers, I think, knew that Batman v Superman was not going to please everyone. And because it's not meant to. Batman v Superman is not meant to please the entire audience.
Unlike, like, The Avengers or the MCU.
Yeah. And, like, The Avengers is good. It's a great movie. Like, The Avengers and Civil War and all these Marvel movies are great for what they're trying to do. Batman v Superman is not trying to do that. It's trying to be darker, and it's trying to explain a much more...
it's trying to go to the demographic of comic book readers.
Yes.
Like myself and...
I agree, but the only problem is I also think that the Warner Brothers, they're also trying to play catch-up to Marvel, which is how some of the problems, like, they squish so much in this movie just to try to lead up to a Justice League movie. And, like, I guess, like, this is technically Phase 1 for DC, I guess. And it's kind of like they just, like, crammed in Phase 1 and 2 in this one movie.
Yep, but I think it worked pretty well, I guess.
Actually...
Yeah, it worked pretty well, to say.
It worked decently.
Yeah. That is actually one of my biggest complaints with this movie, because Batman v Superman was, in my opinion, very entertaining, but it was not good in the story sense. Yes. I feel like I'm going to contradict what I just said, but at the same time I enjoyed it, and at the same time I'm glad they're doing something different from Marvel. They need to take their own time. They need to test waters. They can't just throw all their eggs into one basket. And I mean, it was a lukewarm kind of situation for Warner Brothers. I think Batman v Superman definitely has created the ground that the next movies, like Suicide Squad. I'm really, really excited for Suicide Squad.
Well, actually, just going into that for a second, I think actually, as soon as they found out about some of the what people thought about Batman v Superman, they actually went back into Suicide Squad and changed and took out some of the darker elements because people weren't liking it in Batman v Superman.
Oh yeah,
that's what I just read that. I'm like, oh, okay,
that makes sense. And I think I'm not sure what the greatest complaint that I have about the movie is, but I'm sure it has something to do with...
Mine is just Superman. And
yeah.
Superman. I wasn't sold on him in Man of Steel, and this movie certainly didn't sell me on him, period.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It sold me on Batman, but not Superman.
Yeah, it very much did Batman very well. And even Wonder Woman, even though she had a very limited amount of screen time, they made do with it very well.
Yes.
And the thing with Superman is he's too dark. He's too like, is this my life's meaning? He should have because, in the original comics, he's like, I am here to do the right thing.
Yeah, because here's the thing: the entire reason that they did that little crossover back then before the Justice League is because you're having light against dark fight each other. It's like this Boy Scout, who, by the way, in this universe is not a Boy Scout, period. And he's a god, pretty much. That's what everybody sees him as. That's what Zack Snyder sees him as. And then you have Batman, who's supposed to be the dark. And in this movie, He kills. Like, Batman should never kill, period, in anything, but he kills here. And so now, but you also have Superman, who obviously doesn't care about life because, as we saw in the beginning, a lot of people died from that Zod battle. And he took no responsibility for it. He just kind of left. Just like the Avengers left in Sokovia, just kind of left everything.
Well, it's not like he can do anything about it. Imagine how many more people would have died had he not stepped in.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is true, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
Take responsibility for it for a person who's trying to give off the image of someone that people can look up to.
Well, I guess, I mean, you are right about that, but the thing is, I just don't like is that they never really show Superman doing Superman things. I mean, you see him saving some people, like, from off buildings, but, like, you never see him, like, in a lighthearted way saving people. It's always, like, he has to do it. Like, it's not, like, it's like he's obligated to save somebody. Like, you don't see him saving a cat from a tree in this movie, like we saw in the old one. Giving things a little, he's doing all these giant things just to pretty much prove a point that he's not the bad guy.
Yeah. See, my argument against that, though, is that this is supposed to be the origin of Superman. And in every iteration, like in the animated series, and even like in certain comic books, Superman needs to realize who he is before he starts doing, Superman-like things. And honestly, I think Batman v Superman kind of sheds a little bit, like, I think it makes him more of Superman than he was in Man of Steel. Yes. So I think it's a really good progression that's going to come to him being the Superman we've been waiting for. So I'm very excited to see that. And my argument with the Batman thing is that I can understand why people would be upset and why you would be upset with Batman killing. I honestly think it's a good twist. And I think Batman isn't going to be doing as much killing as he has been doing in Batman v Superman because he's been inspired by Superman's sacrifice. So he's like, oh, right, I did this to save lives, not to kill them.
Well, on that, he better not, because if the Justice League ends up happening, which is it's kind of shaky at this point, you can't have a Batman killing people with all the rest of the Boy Scout team. It's just kind of random. And also, back to the Superman thing, I do agree with that, like, that, like, they're trying to build it up, because, like, there's like one scene like he's talking to his mom and it's like, you don't owe this world a thing, and like, but he's still doing it anyway. So yeah, I mean, they are kind of like establishing that you don't have to do anything, but being a nice guy, you will. So it's kind of like, but this is the thing is the problem with that. This is this kind of stuff you should have shown up in Man of Steel first.
Yeah,
you bring it to a versus movie where you are obligated to fight somebody and not give him more development. We should have had that in Man of Steel first.
Yeah.
And actually adding on to that point, the issue that I did have with Superman is that even though they were trying to build up him turning into Superman, there was this one scene where he's rescued Lois and he's saying to Lois, it was right after Lex Luthor threatened him about his mother and all that jazz. Yeah. But then he's like, I'm going to have to talk some sense into Bruce or he's going to die. And then he just flies away and says, people don't stay good in this world. That part really, really bugged me, and I was kind of disappointed at that point in the movie. Like, that really just I actually hated that scene, by the way, too. It was like he contradicted himself. He's like, I can feel good. I can do good, but there's not many good people in this world. I'm like, so you're saying that you're pretty much God again, I guess. That's Zack Snyder's way of saying it.
Yep.
And I think that scene was the worst scene in the entire movie, in my opinion.
No, that would be Jimmy Olsen.
Got to the end yet.
That was the other scene, is with Jimmy Olsen. It
really burns me up that they killed Jimmy Olsen, who was one of my...
He had like one line. Why would you bring him in here? It could have been anybody else. Why do they actually mentioned it was him. I'm like, okay.
I hope they pull off some writing stunt where they're just like, oh, he just used the identity of Jimmy Olsen to make an excuse or something like that.
Yeah, I would so much rather see that.
And then, surprise, Jimmy Olsen's just a dorky photographer that they used because he's just kind of a nobody.
Yeah, and I was hoping that too, but there was an interview and Zack Snyder said that was him. That was it for him. What the heck was that?
Well, hopefully he gets fired soon, so we can see a real Jimmy Olsen.
See, and that's the portion where I'm like, okay, you're trying too much to be not Marvel, but you're trying to be Marvel. Which one do you want to go for, guys? Let's
go for Shyamalan. What a twist! I killed him off, guys. Look, this is my universe now. I can do whatever I want. I hate that. You can't. Don't do that.
Well,
Superman is not supposed to be dark. He is supposed to be the light.
Yeah. That's why I looked up to him so much as a kid, because he was just so like, haha, I have saved the day once again.
Let's put it this way. I would rather want to be Captain America. I want to be this version of Superman at all. I want to be the Christopher Reeve Superman, not this one.
Oh, exactly. I'll for Brandon Routh, honestly.
This one is like hated. Like just in its own movies, nobody likes him. Nobody approves of him. Period.
Okay, I just like his like character development and everything. I can't blame it on Henry Cavill though, because Henry Cavill did what he's doing.
I don't blame him. I think he's actually for this generation the perfect guy to play Superman. Because I didn't like Richard Reeves I'm sorry, not Richard Reeves. The other guy in Superman Returns. I hated that guy.
Brandon Routh.
Yeah, I didn't think he wasn't a very good Superman in my opinion.
In my opinion, he was just skinny and he didn't talk at all.
Yeah, and that's then again you could say the same argument for this one. But I like Henry. I like Henry. He looks like he fits the role way better than anybody else could, in my opinion. It's just that they give him nothing. He does nothing. Yeah,
they don't give him anything to work with other than you're Superman, I guess.
Smile once in a while, Henry. Smile.
Yeah,
I think what they're going for. I think they are going to turn him into the Superman that we all know and love. I think this is a good approach to Superman. I feel like they could have done it so much better, but the way that they're approaching it is okay. But the way that they're approaching it is okay, but the way that they're showing it is horrible.
Yeah,
that's how I feel like all of the whole DC extended universe is, in my opinion. They're approaching it well, but they're really not showing a lot of good coming from it. However, at the same time I'm saying that, I think one of my favorite parts of the movie was the nightmare scene. The nightmare scene it really showed that the DC universe has so many bigger things in it.
Oh yeah.
That no other movie before it could have ever imagined doing something like that.
Which one are you talking about? Because there are a lot of them.
The nightmare sequence where they show a lot of the stuff from Apocalypse and the apocalyptic future.
Okay, yeah. Let me tell you about I think the worst part of the movie, in my opinion, just getting out of the way, is when they show off the Justice League members.
Yeah.
That was probably...
What?
There's no point in that. Like, they just kind of bring it out of nowhere, and like you see, it's like he has like last bit of time on his hands, and like for each hero he found, he like made little sigils for them.
He was like, hey Bob, can you make these icons for them?
And you open them up and you see each and every one of them come out, and like it's like that's so forced. You didn't have to do that.
I like to imagine it was actually like Lex Luthor or someone who works at Luthor Corp or something designed the logos for the superheroes, and they found the file and they're like, actually that's pretty good, I'm going to use that.
See, and I think this is one of the things that the movie suffers from the most, is that I absolutely disagree with that comment. Like, I completely disagree. I think that scene was amazing. It was showing the fact that the DC Universe is going in a new direction. It's trying to show what's new. And I think this is what Batman v Superman suffers from the most, is that there's such a line between people who really like it and people who really hate it. And that really saddens me, because it creates this big controversy that doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, Batman v Superman has fans that are against each other too. Like, that probably should never. I mean, I respect your opinion though. It's just that in terms of this movie, which is Batman v Superman, we don't need Batman v Superman v Justice League showing v Wonder Woman v the big monster that's coming up in a bit. It's like
it's like when they call it a Godzilla movie, but 70% of it is filler with the human characters.
Well, to be fair on that, I think most Godzilla movies are pretty much that, just filler, and he just kind of comes in. This is like playing really bad catch up. Like, we gotta put everything in here. We gotta put this in here.
That's true.
That's the Superman in here. Justice League filler in here. It's like they had a checklist that Warner Brothers told them to get off their chest before making the next movie. I was like, gosh.
See, and I agree with the whole catch-up thing, but it's called Dawn of Justice as well. While they should have put at least 30 minutes of Batman versus Superman in it, not 10. But
actually, just getting into that for a second too. Before the movie was just called Batman v Superman last year, Dawn of Justice was actually going to be the next movie that came out. That was going to be the one that came after. They ended up squeezing both movies together, which is another problem I have. Dawn of Justice was going to be the next Superman movie, which would come out after this. So, which would have been, I saw the script for that. That would have been the one Superman died in, the next one. But they squeezed it in at the end. So it was like the last 6 months of the movie.
That kind of goes without saying the spoiler alert, but still.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, but this is a spoiler discussion, so.
Oh, true. It just goes without saying.
Yeah, so this is basically, if you guys are wondering, you're watching two movies in one, squashed together.
Which explains the runtime.
And also explains the having all the Justice League crap, which should have been in the next movie. Because that was planned, but Zack Snyder said, no, we can get out of the way now, because I'm a really good director, apparently. So,
yeah, if I were to sum up my experience with the entire film as a whole, I'm lovingly disappointed.
Same.
There's things that I love, some things that I hate, and some things that are a little bit in between.
See, and I disagree with that. I didn't actually know that they were going to make an entire Dawn of Justice movie. If I had known that, I would have been a lot more critical with it. Me personally, though, I really enjoyed Batman v Superman. They could have done so much better, though. I definitely think they could have done a lot better, especially like with that ending scene with Doomsday. I think Doomsday, the one scene with Superman and Jimmy Olsen, where Doomsday was such a love-hate for me, because I'm like, oh, Doomsday is on the big screen now, but I'm like, he looks like a Ninja Turtle mixed with a cave troll from...
Should we just try to get into the plot, actually? Just to kind of...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've been talking spoilers, but let's just get into like a bit of the plot, I guess.
Yeah, we have like 10 minutes left.
Okay, so the plot, pretty much the movie opens, it's just immediately after Batman v Superman, all the damage and stuff has gone into the city or whatever, and Batman actually Bruce happens to be in the city at that time, which kind of is a good way of explaining why he's ticked off at him, until it kind of gets lost in translation a little bit later on, where everybody's or whatever kind of go out of control.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so then they have like this giant board meeting, I guess, to get Superman to see, like, whose side is he on. He goes there, and then Lex Luthor, which, by the way, I think is awfully cast in this movie. He's like Joker.
Yeah. He's more like the Riddler, in my opinion.
The Riddler, too.
He's Lex Luthor's son. He's not like Lex Luthor himself.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's what it is? He's Lex Luthor's son?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, that's still kind of odd, though. Like,
that he isn't like the real Lex.
That's still a really stupid change. Like, I don't get that.
I think the Lex Luthor Sr. is going to come back in another movie, because if you listen to the Ultimate Edition, he says something about, I'll just leave the room the way it is and Dad might return. So, I have a good feeling that Lex Luthor Sr. is working with Darkseid or Brainiac or some other, DC villain that might appear sometime in the future. I do think that Lex Luthor Sr. will return as the Lex Luthor that everyone knows him as.
Yes.
Yeah, if any of you guys have watched the Ultimate Edition, pretty much Lex Luthor, you need to watch the Ultimate Edition to understand that he set up everything. Without watching that, you will be incredibly confused, especially about like the bomb thing and remember the courtroom scene, like where there's the bomb goes off? You wouldn't be able to tell, but in the Ultimate Edition, you find out like that Superman he has a really hard time seeing through lead. So in normal, you kind of like just see him like standing around, like looking like, what's going on? Why is everybody quiet? And that's not really explained. But we find out that like I think Lois says that like he's kind of has a tough time seeing through lead, so he couldn't see the bomb through the lead wheelchair.
Yeah,
that's why he's looking around. I'm like, thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, there's actually like the mystery role that Jenna Malone, everyone thought that she was going to be Batgirl. She was actually a scientist working at Star Labs. Lois goes to her about she like two other things, but like the last scene you see her in is she's talking to Lois on the phone about the wheelchair, and the wheelchair was lined with lead, which explains why Superman couldn't see it. And there's another scene where I can't remember if it was in the theatrical edition or not, but it's Lex Luthor talking with the wheelchair guy, and you're like, oh, okay, Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
He put the bomb in there. That makes a little bit more sense, and lined it with lead.
Which you don't get in the original. It's such a sloppy cut for the original, where like a lot of really, really, really important crap is not there.
Yeah.
If Civil War did that, it would have been a terrible movie. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
You would not know anybody's motivations the way that Zack Snyder did the normal cut. Like, That's what makes Civil War work, is because you understand both people's stuff, because they keep everything you need to know in there. I'm pretty sure they took out a lot of stuff for Civil War, too, like, just to kind of keep them rolling, but at least they kept in the important stuff.
Mm-hmm. The issue with Civil War, though, is that Civil War and Batman v Superman are two, in my opinion, they are very different. They are, though. I agree with you, absolutely. They are very similar. Don't get me wrong. are very, very similar in that these big superheroes go toe-to-toe with one another. But the issue that I find that Batman v Superman suffers from versus Civil War is that Civil War has almost, like, what is it, 2016, so, like, 8 years of movies that they have built themselves upon. So, of course, you're going to feel a lot more for characters like Captain America and Iron Man and some of the new characters. I won't spoil any of those. That's for a different date.
Yeah, we already did it, so...
Oh. But the issue is with, like, Batman v Superman is that Batman v Superman doesn't have enough time to really build on, like, Batman or Superman, so you don't get this sense of awe when they really go toe-to-toe. I mean, I did because I'm a Superman-Batman nut.
Same here, because I do understand it. But again, I think that goes into the whole catch-up argument earlier. Especially with the finding out there were going to be 2 separate movies.
Yeah, that really, I did not know that. That really kind of made...
That's frustrating.
That makes me very disappointed.
Zack Snyder was going to be directing both, but he's like, you gotta watch this, guys. I can make it all fit in one so we can get to the Justice League much faster. And the Wonder Woman movie.
They'll make more money and do less work.
See, even though Batman... See, the other thing, too, is, like, at the very end, when Superman is, spoiler alert, he dies. You know, Doomsday stabs him with his bone arm, and Superman stabs him with the spear or whatever. It's like I was sad because it was Superman dying. But I had already read the comic books. I didn't really feel... I mean, I compare myself with Superman because I'm like, I don't know, I have some sort of sense of, like, doing justice or stuff like that. But I didn't really, like, if I saw that in Civil War, like, if I saw Captain America die, or if I saw a character I knew and loved for 8 years die on screen, I would be heartbroken. But this was just kind of like, oh, well, I kind of know what's going to happen, so it's, like, sad, but it's not too sad.
Well, here's the thing, dude. In that sense, I don't think it should really matter because, yes, in Marvel Universe, we have had a lot of time to build up all these characters. And if they did end up, like, you know, going with the killing Tony thing, that would have made everybody really sad and probably really, very ticked. But the thing is, with Batman v Superman, it doesn't matter if you've seen that. We've still had plenty of Superman before in the past. And he's still, they didn't build him correctly in the last movie. But everybody knows who he is. He's a Boy Scout. He doesn't see himself as a god, but he's a Boy Scout. And we should be sad still if he dies. But this, I didn't feel a thing when I saw that because I'm like, I don't care. You never gave me a chance to care. I care about Batman because the movie is pretty much Batman v Superman, not Superman v Batman. It's pretty much a Batman movie more than Superman.
True.
So,
it's not even a Superman movie. It's like Superman's just kind of like staying there, like, oh yeah, I'm here.
And I'd actually researched it. Yes, Spider-Man does in fact have more lines than Superman does in Batman v Superman. So that is ridiculous. This is a versus movie. You see Tony Stark and them, like, they have a very, very good balance, but it's still a Captain America movie. Like, it's not
I feel like this should be labeled like a comparison between Civil War and Batman v Superman.
It might as well be because just...
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard not to because they both came out around the same time.
So. Yeah, I mean, that's true, and it's like, it's sad. To me, it's really sad because I was really betting that Batman v Superman would do great because it was.
I thought it would do better, honestly. Like, this is why I'm so disappointed. I wanted this one to be better than Captain America because we've already had Winter Soldier and all that, and Marvel obviously doesn't really need better movies. They're doing good. I wanted this to be really, really good so that I would enjoy Justice League movie. Now I am not looking forward to what Justice League is going to do, especially because they killed him off in one movie. Like, this is Death of Superman in one movie.
I think it's actually kind of funny, actually, because Civil War is such. I've heard. I forget where I heard this from, but I heard it's like the best. It made the best money, even more, like a little bit more than the Avengers. It was better reviewed. And it's sad because Batman v Superman had to come out at the worst time when, like, Civil War comes out, and I'm just like, I'm disappointed. And I feel like Warner Brothers has learned their lesson though, because they're changing Justice League, and I feel like Justice League is actually going to be a lot better. Like, they're filming it right now actually, and I've seen some photos of what they're doing to the costumes, and like Aquaman's costume isn't going to be a real costume.
There's nothing like with the character is it like. Again, back to the Civil War bit, like, Black Panther was showing up in that movie, and even though he wasn't there very long and all that, I'm still looking forward to his movie. The same thing, Wonder Woman is pretty much the Black Panther of this movie. No matter what happened in this movie, she didn't disappoint me. Like, she is the only part of this movie that I can say I am legitimately looking forward to her next movie. And Batman. Yeah. Superman, no. Like, I'm not. I don't care anymore. He messed up, like really bad.
And with Black Panther, I was never truly a fan of Black Panther. I always thought he was really boring and all the stuff with what country was it? Wakanda. I always thought it was like super boring whenever it came on in the cartoons or whatever. But the movie made me like it a lot more.
But the directors took the time, all their time out to focus on him and make it interesting so that we would care.
Yes.
They didn't do that here. I don't care about Superman. The main part of the story, they focus more on Batman, who's already had the Christopher Nolan ones, which we already know about. They spent more time on him than the newbie, who should have the most time spent on.
Yeah,
I think Superman is suffering from that new generation syndrome. Because if you ask anyone, do you like Batman or Superman more?
They're gonna ask you They're gonna say Batman, and that really breaks my heart because Superman's dumb. And he is my favorite superhero of all time because he's the one that I looked up to the most as a kid. He's the one that I wanted to be. He's the one that I dressed up as and remembered all the lines to the 40s cartoon too. Yeah, and now they're making him look like a joke.
Yeah, I find that really sad. Is even say for Marvel, I mean, let's all be real here. If you were going to ask a kid who their favorite Marvel character is, they're going to say Spider-Man first.
Oh yeah,
Spider-Man. He's always front and center in every poster. He's there. He's Spider-Man. He's the face of Marvel, pretty much.
Yeah, he was like the most popular, and now it's either going to be Spider-Man or it's going to morph into Captain America.
Yeah. So and Spider-Man has a lot of bad movies. They all suck, but nobody's taken away from the fandom. He still is the biggest Marvel character. And everybody will always say, who's your favorite? Spider-Man. Or maybe, Iron Man every once in a while.
Well, maybe, if Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster and Bob Kane were still alive, then DC would still be successful. But now that Stan Lee is still alive, he has input on what goes on, at least a little bit.
If you ask somebody, sadly, who their favorite DC character is, they're not going to say probably Green Lantern or any of the other Justice League. They're going to say either Batman or very, very few nowadays are going to say Superman. Because DC is pretty much the Sega of this. We only show off the few important ones now.
That is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, they're pretty much Sega. I mean, let's get real.
Mm-hmm.
See, and that's the sad part for me is because I am a very big Batman was I watched the animated series all the time when I was younger. That was my favorite animated show of all time, and I am one of the people that will say Batman is my favorite DC hero, but I want to see more of Superman. I want to see more of the Teen Titans. I want to see more of the Blue Lanterns. I want to see more of these DC
and the Teen Titans that we all know and love.
Have been ruined.
The ones that have been ruined, I would like to see a comic book of. Before there was
actual Titans. Yes.
Yeah, before there was the TV show Teen Titans Go, there was a comic of the same name that was showcasing the same characters from the 2003 cartoon. Yeah. They would always open with "When there's trouble, who to call." There was a comic about that, and I'd really like to read that.
I think it's sad too because if you ask any people now, even our age. It's who are the Teen Titans? And you're wow, that's
those guys Cartoon Network that everyone hates with the dark.
Everybody knows who Robin is, but who the heck is Beast Boy? Who the heck is Raven? I don't if you ask me to point out any of Shazam's powers, I still can't tell you, and I've seen plenty of them. I still can't tell you. They don't do a very good job of ever going into each of these characters because they only know that who's going to sell. Batman, because Batman makes a lot of good video. DC is really, really, really scared of doing a Superman game. Because they've actually said that they were working on a Superman game by the same people who did the Batman Arkham series, but now they're not because they heard Batman v Superman didn't do very good, and because not people like Superman anymore. It's I guess because of Superman 64, it was kind of the last straw. Okay, let's back off of that franchise.
Yeah.
So nobody can grow up with that. Nobody can really, unless you watch TV or you have a really, really cool uncle who gives you Superman comics. You don't get to grow up with them.
I'm gonna be that uncle.
Yeah, and the other thing too with DC is I think they're at this point in their lifetime where they don't really care what people think. Because if you, excuse me, if we actually had a Rebirth comic of Action Comics. It's the second one in the Rebirth series, and it does everything that a Superman comic should do.
It was the second half, and I didn't understand a thing of what was going on, and it was the most beautiful thing my eyes have ever laid eyes on. My eyes laid eyes on it.
Have you guys ever heard of All-Star Superman comic?
Yes, I have. I've seen
That is probably the best one, and That's what he is. That's what Superman really should
I've
be.
seen the animated feature of it. I've seen the animated movie of it, and I really enjoyed it.
It is easily All-Star Superman is easily the best iteration of Superman you could ever.
Isn't that when he was fighting the Elites?
No, that's Superman versus the Elite.
Yes.
That's weird, because I could have sworn in All-Star Superman he was... No, he was fighting the giant star dude.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that's still the best Superman. Like that's still the best Superman characterization. And they decided to go for, I guess, the new. I mean, technically this is the new 52 version, I guess, of Superman and Batman and all that. I haven't really followed it, but nobody cares. Nobody wants. We get DC is different from Marvel. Yes, we all understand that. But why does everything have to be dark? Like.
Yeah, that bothers me. Yeah. Okay, here's how I like to see it, and this like really fills me with hope whenever I think, oh, it's never going to be like when I was a kid and everyone was happy and helped each other out. Because comics, I think, are going through a phase of life where it started in a very immature way with Disney characters like Mickey Mouse and Pluto and stuff, and then it moved on to a toddler stage where it added more characters like superheroes, like Superman, where it was very... kind of, I dare I even say immaturely written, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, whatever.
It's written for a very broad demographic. No, and then it went into then it started maturing slowly, like with Spider-Man, Amazing Fantasy number 15. No, that's leading into preteen, where it's starting to get edgier, and now it's like 19 years old, super edgy. But I'm hoping that it'll mature into something much better.
Marvel actually started to kind of go into that edgy. Like I think it was like the comic book series like Infinity, I guess. It's just like a different kind of thing, but they backed off because they realized nobody was liking that. DC, no, they're sticking with their guns. So.
Mm-hmm. Actually, what's really funny about that is right now I'm actually collecting the Dark Knight 3, the Master Race series.
Nice.
I'm on issue 5. Yeah, thank you. Issue 5 was actually released like about a week ago, and it really surprised me because when it first started out, it suffered from. See, the Dark Knight series that Frank Miller wrote, there was first The Dark Knight Returns, which was by far the best comic book I've ever written, or read.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm incredibly tired.
Yes.
The comic book.
Then I read a little bit of The Strikes Again, and I didn't finish it, but it was the worst comic book I've ever read. It contrasts very sharply, and you can definitely tell, you can definitely see hints of Strikes Again in the Master Race, especially in issues 4 and issues 1 through 3 were okay. They weren't the best, but they certainly weren't the worst. Issue 4 kind of dropped for me a bit. It got really boring, and the characterization sucked. Issue 5 did something very surprising, and at first I didn't like it, but then when I stepped back and looked at it, it was because Superman and Batman were fighting together like friends. So, because Batman, spoiler alert for people who haven't read this yet and want to read it, they have to stop these Kandorians. So Batman uses kryptonite rain. So I'm just sitting there reading this like, what's a kryptonite rain?
It's an Adam West direction where he's like, Batman, we don't have shark repellent Kryptonian spray.
Hit him with a shark spray.
And I hate it. I didn't hate it at first, but I was very like, are you kidding me? And then I read it again, and I just enjoyed it so much.
It's campy. It's the point.
Because it's silly, and it's ridiculous and impossible, and that's what made
what a comic book is supposed to be.
Yes, and I loved it, and I really started to like it, especially when Superman comes in at the end. Again, another spoiler warning with the battle suit to battle Batman with the Kandorians. I was just like, that is such a world's finest moment right there. It was so beautiful, and I'm waiting for that moment. And I feel like Justice League is going to do that. I feel like Justice League is realizing, okay, people are kind of done with this dark and grittiness. And I personally enjoyed the fight with Batman v Superman. Ultimate Edition does add a little bit more to it. But the rest of the movie, it's a very love-hate thing for me. I did enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
And Ultimate Edition adds 5 more minutes of Superman getting the crap beaten out of him.
Yeah, but I'm so excited to see Justice League because I can if you read up on Warner Brothers and what they say about Batman v Superman, they realize that people don't want to see that. They want to see their heroes on the big screen doing heroic things. And from the outfit design that I've seen and read, about Justice League. I'm very excited to see. I'm excited to see it. So I think Ultimate Edition. I think Ultimate Edition is great for people who like the movie. It explains a lot more. It shows you a lot more plot. But if you didn't like the movie because of the characters and not because of the plot, the Ultimate Edition really isn't going to add anything for you. I think Batman v Superman was enjoyable. It was not the best movie, but it wasn't the worst.
Oh yeah, same. That's how I felt about Star Wars 7 at the first time I saw it. I'm just like, oh, it's not bad. But now that I'm watching it, I'm starting to grow a little more fond of it.
Yeah. Well, I still, it's just kind of a copycat of New Hope to me.
Oh yeah, but
with this, I mean, you can tell they were trying to obviously do something different. But the thing is, you have Zack Snyder involved, who's kind of a shaky producer, and I guess it depending on what you've read and different kind of comics for Superman and Batman, it might work. But like the thing, like even like there are some explanations like for like Batman, let's say Batman killing, because I guess Robin in this universe Robin got killed by Joker. Like there's like a little scene where like he's looking at the Robin suit, and it says like something. I forget what it says in there, but like something Joker wrote.
Joke's on you.
Yeah.
So that's a yes, but at the same time, that happens in the comics all the time. He didn't kill people like that. He still didn't do that. It's not enough to like just randomly stray away. And like I guess Ben Affleck, he's producing the next Batman movie. He said that he's going to try to keep as less killing out of there as possible. So even he didn't like it.
Well, because Ben Affleck in the interview said that he wants to keep true to the fans, and so he sees that the fans didn't like what they did. Although I personally, I thought the warehouse scene was one of the best scenes in the movie, but that's just...
Well, that's because I think the only reason why you think is because it shows off. This is the best Batman ever. And
yes, absolutely.
He does everything Batman does, like in the Arkham City games and all that. This is what he does in this movie.
The best Batman was Adam West.
This one actually uses the grappling hook. Oh my gosh. He actually does Batman things. And that's why he's probably the best. Like I want this to be the last Batman, in my opinion. I don't want any more.
Understandable. But I'm not even joking when I say that Adam West is my favorite Batman.
Shut up, Tyler.
I'm being dead serious. I loved Adam West as Batman.
You just wanted him to have the fight with Superman so that he could spray the shark spray in his eyes.
Just so they could have the boom, bow, biff, pow. I want to edit the fight scenes in the warehouse though, because zip, bap, pow, kablooey, piggy,
kaboom, all that good stuff. My favorite this is my favorite live action iteration of Batman, but my favorite iteration will always be season 1 of Batman the Animated Series.
Yes.
Always.
Yes, same actually. Or like, have you ever like a Mask of the Phantasm? I think.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
That's the Batman in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitive Batman.
Andrea.
It is art.
It is beautiful.
This one is this was my favorite. I hate the killing absolutely because it goes against everything Batman is, but at the same time, he's the best Batman. Like he is literally, he does everything Batman should do. Like the Christian Bale version didn't do. Christian Bale Christian Bale was whiny.
He was like if Kylo Ren wanted to be Batman.
Pretty much. Where is it? That should be Batman.
Where's the back to Luke Skywalker?
I feel like with Batman Begins, they did good, okay-ish. And then in Dark Knight, they were just kind of like, oh, Rachel died, I'm gonna stop being Batman.
I hated Rachel in the second movie. In the first one, she was cute, and she was like an interesting character. In the second one, she looked more like the Joker than Heath Ledger did.
Tyler, because she dies in the second movie.
Thankfully.
Well, let's get back. Let's get back to Batman v Superman.
Yeah, let's go back to the plot a bit. So after the whole little explosion scene, I guess that's when things really go down, and Batman's like, okay, he obviously did this because it can't be anybody else. Oh no, because I'm the smartest detective in the world, but Batman did it. Oh, sorry, Superman did it. So he ends up looking for kryptonite and working out like Hugh Jackman works out before going like Wolverine.
Yeah.
And he has his entire plan to do everything on this one day. I guess he and Lex planned to do the exact same thing at the exact same time.
Well, and the other thing with that too is in the Ultimate Edition, Lex Luthor actually offers Bruce Wayne to go into his R&D department. So like Lex Luthor, that just shows that he already knew who Batman was.
Yeah, we all kind of figured that out by the handshake scene. It's like, wow, this guy is strong. You should not pick a fight with him. Foreshadow.
Take your own advice, man.
Yes, I know, right? That was so forced. By the way, they showed off in the trailer. I'm like, no. If you're trying to sell me that he doesn't know who they are, you're doing a very terrible job.
Well, he already knew who they are, so I think that was kind of a funny scene.
He was just doing it to mess with them. Yeah.
Well, we all know because of the Justice League scene. He's a stalker. He sees everybody.
Yeah, well,
I think that's all the time we have.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think we should just get out biggest final thoughts on Batman v Superman as a whole.
If you haven't seen it, watch Ultimate Edition first if you plan on watching it. Rent it if you can. Don't judge it on the theatrical release. Please don't.
Tim, what's your opinion?
If you enjoyed the theatrical edition but saw that there was a lot of plot holes, definitely see the Ultimate Edition.
Actually, just give up on everything and watch the 60s movie. The
Shut up, Tyler. You're rooting for us all.
Can that be like the catchphrase of our review show?
And while you're at it, at 10 o'clock comes on the Hulk show.
But yeah, I think that if you really enjoyed Batman v Superman for just as a movie, and you just wanted to see Batman fight Superman, definitely watch the Ultimate Edition. If you didn't like the characterization, if you didn't like the whole dark undertones, I wouldn't really recommend Ultimate Edition because it's pretty much just clearing up plot holes. Personally, I enjoyed it, so I think it was a great movie.
Exit the theaters and go see Garfield Tale of Two Kitties. You'll be much more impressed.
No, we don't talk about that.
You know, I actually was forced to see that in the theaters on my birthday.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. That was like the worst experience I've ever had.
That's
but
amazing.
okay, so my opinion on the movie. I liked it the first time I watched it. And I watched it a second time, and it was like everything fell apart. Everything. And keep in mind, this is the first release, not the Ultimate Edition. But the thing is, you shouldn't need an Ultimate Edition to re-explain things in your story. That's like what Kingdom Hearts does, where it re-releases the exact same game to fix up plot holes. You should never have to do that in a big story. Batman v Superman is not a very big story to follow. You shouldn't have to have all this stuff. I mean, it's fine to have something that fixes it, but you shouldn't have these problems to begin with.
Just take Lois Lane out of it. Yeah. Everyone will appreciate that.
Okay, I like Amy Adams' performance. I think Amy Adams is a great actress, and she did the part well. It's just the part was awful.
But she was Princess Peach of the movie.
She totally was.
You could have taken her out, and you would have lost nothing. That's insane. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of the same problem with Civil War is that you could have taken out Ant-Man and all these people who didn't really contribute much to the plot, and you would have lost nothing. But the thing is with that and this is that is establishing more characters for even better movies to come.
If you take out Ant-Man, you wouldn't have gotten the awesome that and the awesome support scene where he was like, "Hey guys, have you seen that old movie, The Empire Strikes Back?"
Batman v Superman is just gonna suffer from. It wasn't as good as Civil War. It's just gonna suffer from that.
I mean, it's sad, but that's sadly what happens when you release them so close together. It's just a year of verses. You have, and honestly, you have to compare because Marvel is doing they're just doing a way better job. So this movie, I think, it's a perfectly fine movie. Is this a good movie to lead into Justice League? Probably not, but I'm looking forward to Justice League. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
But this is not. Let's just throw everything out and say that if Man of Steel never existed, and this was the first one they did for this new universe, this would not sell me off at all on Justice League. This was a failure in every way.
The more issues I see with the superhero movies that I do see, it just makes me think I'm going to give up on all of this and make a fan-made One Punch Man movie.
I want that too.
You can be Genos. I'll hire you as Genos. I'll be Saitama. Tim, you can be the Sea King.
Of course.
No, you can be Speed of Sound Sonic.
No.
You can be the bicyclist.
We are so going off track. It's supposed to be about
I am looking forward to a Justice League movie. I am looking forward to it. And the Wonder Woman and Batman.
Very much.
Because I want to see, obviously, yes, I seriously hated the little crammed in scene. It was like Age of Ultron where they crammed in that dump scene with like Hulk in the water or Thor in the water, like doing something to set up a Ragnarok. It's like, that didn't need to be there. Same with like the Justice League stuff. As we all know now, this was supposed to be two different movies.
Yeah.
And you decided to cram it in. Just take it out and do another one. I don't understand why that problem was there, but I enjoyed the movie for what it was. Am I going to watch it again? Maybe, in a year. But when Civil War comes out, I'm getting that Blu-ray day one. Because let's just say this, I had a way better time seeing Civil War in the movie theaters than I did Batman v Superman.
We are rewatching just the bits with Spider-Man and Ant-Man over and over and over again. Going.
I mean, come on. I mean, seriously, guys. Like, how many times can you tell me you laughed at Batman v Superman as opposed to Civil War? Like
watching Scott Lang fall asleep in the van, and as he came out, he was like, "You're Captain America." I was rolling on the floor.
Right. I mean, these are superhero movies. Guys wearing spandex. I shouldn't have to be like almost like wipe my eyes because I'm getting a bit like tired and teary-eyed watching Batman v Superman when it's supposed to be like the best ever comic clash.
Yeah.
Ever.
And here I am, like sitting in
the Avengers.
Sea of Captain America pulling in the helicopter there with his freaking
I
arms.
mean, even like in the trailers, like they say like man, like let's just say like the greatest gladiator match in the history of ever, like man versus like God. It's like but it's really just man beating the crap out of God, and then a giant ball sack monster comes out. And then you stab him and you die. There's no.
King from the
It's like
Hobbit.
5 minutes of battle. And Martha! That's how it ends. What if that's how Civil War ended? With found out that Captain America's mom's name was the same as Tony. Was that at all? No.
Like Captain America is just like, hey.
Actually, now that you mention
he's like, hey Tony, what kind of rice do you like? And he's just like, Uncle Ben. And then just Spider-Man grabs him. Why did you say that name?
Well, actually, now that you mention it, Batman and Superman, when they say Martha, they become friends. When Tony Stark sees his mommy die, then they become enemies. So it's kind of funny how they contrast in that regard.
Which I think, so that's how it should have been for this movie. That makeup was so freaking fast. Like, the moment they're done, we're friends now. Okay, so I'm gonna go save your mom, and you do this. Okay, we're good friends. Justice League, got it? Okay, good. All right, guys, I'll get to work. I'm like,
go get coffee.
What's the point in that? Like, then don't fight if it takes. The biggest problem with superhero movies nowadays, like even I guess Civil War, is that they don't really ever talk things over. They just fight before they talk.
Yep.
And that's
basically Dragon Ball Z. Oh, I'm sorry. Dragon Ball Z is where the entire episode is talking, and there is 5 seconds of fight.
Yes, but yes. Yeah.
My final words for Batman v Superman are I lost it.
Okay, whatever you're gonna do, make sure you say it's final because this is going up on the internet. Make your final thoughts here.
This is definitely the final thing. My absolute final thing is that if you want to watch a movie, if you're completely new to superheroes and you want to watch this movie, don't think during it. Just enjoy it for being Batman and Superman the first time on screen.
Give up on the movie and go see the Mario Brothers movie. You're going to get a lot more.
No.
My final thoughts.
All right, I think that's all the time we have.
All right.
Good.
And let me just say, I just didn't say the rest of mine. Like, I pretty much agree with you. Sadly, yes, turn off your brain for this movie.
Wait, on Mario thing?
No, not Mario! You turn your brain off for that entire movie. Yeah, turn off your brain for that. It's sad to say, but yes, you have to turn off your brain in order. If you are any fan of DC in general, turn off your brain for this entire movie.
Yeah. If you're any kind of fan of anything, turn off your brain for this movie.
If you really, if you're one of those biggest critics, then watch the movie up to the Superman and Batman battle and then just turn the movie off. Because after that, the movie just falls, and then suddenly Superman is dead, but then he's alive again, and just might have a giant brain aneurysm.
Graham cracker.
There will be hope, though. The Justice League will give it hope.
Yeah, so we all three, we are looking forward to Justice. Like, am I wrong to say that we're all still looking forward to the Justice League? Like,
excuse me, I'm looking forward to Garfield 3.
Gosh darn it!
Oh my god! All right,
we are looking forward to this. So.
Mario Brothers the musical.
Shut up! We're into this video now. So, in my opinion, if you were looking for, just in terms of the better superhero movie this year, get Civil War over this. If you are the biggest fan of this and you just really want to see how this is going on, then watch this. But I step lightly because you may end up hating it.
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty much our thoughts for this thing. Thank you, Tyler and Tim, for joining me on this.
Thank you very much for having me.
I've been wanting to do this for a while, so.
Go watch Dragon Ball Evolution.
Gosh darn it!
Well, thank you very much.
Tyler, maybe we're doing that one next, actually. So.
Oh, that'll be fun.
The next one you'll see from us is
That'll be
Evolution. Yeah. So, do you want to say anything else, Tim?
Well, just thank you very much for having me. I think that it's actually good to watch both Batman v Superman and Civil War just to kind of see the differences, flesh out what you like and what you don't like. Hopefully, I might come back to do another review with you guys.
If there's anything I see, I'll definitely call you back for that.
Oh, yeah, we're reviewing Garfield 2 next.
Okay, I know. If that's going to happen, I'm not coming back here ever again.
No, we're doing Dragon Ball Evolution. That's going to be fun. I'm going to just rant the entire time while everyone else is... Oh, okay.
If you want to, you can join us for that. If you want to, you can join us for the Evolution thing.
I'm just going to angrily rant while hysterically laughing at the same time.
I might just sit in the background, just make a few underhanded comments just for that.
Yeah, so, okay. So I'll make sure. Okay, so next time, me, Tim, and Tyler, we're going to be doing Evolution. I don't know when. I'll probably watch like 2 out, 10, I don't know, a month or so.
Okay. And
but, yeah, so this is Batman v Superman. Tyler, do you have anything to say before we finish up?
Overall review of Batman v Superman? Seth Rogen's laugh out of 10.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
The end.
just one more 1 second thing. What would you guys from a rate of 1 to 10? What would you guys rate this movie?
Seth Rogen's laugh.
Shut up. I want numbers.
I don't know what to name it.
I would pretty much rate this in terms of just being an overall good superhero movie a 7 out of 10.
And remember that he hasn't seen the movie yet, or seen the Ultimate Edition. Yeah. Personally, for Batman v Superman theatrical edition, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Simply, the 4 is just for the fact that Batman and Superman were in a movie, they fought together. The rest of the movie was kind of not really well put together.
The rest of the movie was supposed to be another movie.
Yeah. For Ultimate Edition, definitely 8 out of 10 for me. I definitely enjoyed it a lot more. They could have done a few things a little bit better, but overall I'm satisfied with the movie that I got.
I think I'm just going to have to give it a 5 just because both versions I'm giving a 5 because the things that they got right, they definitely got right, like Batman and Wonder Woman and everything. But it really breaks my heart seeing my childhood hero being represented in such a stupid, childish way. Like, the way I looked at him, I loved him. He was the most coolest superhero. He could do everything you ever wanted to.
Tyler, we need God symbolism. He's God. He's God, Tyler.
Excuse me. Garfield is God.
God. That's the whole reason why we go to church, guys, because we go to worship Superman. He's God.
Of course. No, welcome to the Church of Thomas the Tank Engine.
Oh, God darn it!
We haven't told you that inside joke yet. We'll have to get on that later, but the thing that really got under my skin. The thing that really got under my skin. No, we're not.
Oh my god.
They're shunting trucks and hauling freight.
We don't talk about that version.
Oh no, we aren't talking about it. But
anyways, you're rated a 5 because why?
I really hate seeing Superman being presented in such a way because I really feel kind of alone in the scheme of people that are fans of Superman because I like Superman because he could do the impossible. He's the role model. He's the guy that you want to be, not the guy that you want to see progress. He's just automatically awesome.
Yeah, so we can all only hope it gets better from here. That's all we can do at this point. We can't. I can't see it's going to get worse because we still have things to look forward to. We have Wonder Woman and Batman so far.
Oh, true.
To be fair with this movie, the night is darkest before the dawn of justice.
That was very poetic. And now I'm going to go shoot myself.
Because of Garfield.
Shut up. Yeah, those are our full thoughts. Thank you guys for listening. And I said we were going to keep it short, but it's pretty much been an hour. Who cares? We're nerds. We just really, really want good movies.
Yes, you're not getting them.
I just want a good movie. I really don't care about when it comes out at the same time as Civil War. I want a good movie both times.
Dragon Ball Evolution 2. When did you not get the message?
Speaking of that, that's the next one we're doing, probably in a week or so.
Mm-hmm.
I may or may not do it. I'm not sure yet.
I'm going to pirate the crap out of that movie.
I might
watch it online, dude. You can find it anywhere. Seriously.
I might just sit there and just add a few little remarks about my personal opinion.
Piccolo is basically Batman.
Gosh.
Piccolo was a better Batman than what was his name? Christian Bale was.
Oh my gosh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much for
joining us, you freaking nerds.
Thank you very much for having us.
Anti-Garfield.
Yeah, it's great too. Well, I hope you'll join us for the next one. But thank you guys for watching it. Listening. There's not going to be any. I've already tried putting in clips and all that, but it just gets taken down anyway. So
Oh, yeah.
thank you for listening to this spoiler podcast. Go see the movie at your own risk, and we'll be doing Evolution next. Thank you, Tyler and Tim, for joining me.
Thank
No
you very
problem.
much for having us.